The man on the $100 bill arrived in Philadelphia with a single dollar and a handful of copper coins. He spent the copper on 3 giant bread rolls. 25 years later, he was so rich, he never had to work again. Everyone thinks Benjamin Franklin got rich through hard work. Not quite. He got rich so he could quit working. And the money advice that built his fortune was published under a fake name. Stay with me, because his final trick pays off 200 years after his death. October 1723. A 17-year-old runaway steps off a boat in Philadelphia. Ben Franklin has fled his brother's print shop in Boston, breaking his apprenticeship contract, which technically made him a fugitive. His entire fortune, $1 Dutch and some copper. He buys 3 great puffy rolls, stuffs one under each arm, and marches up Market Street chewing the third. A girl in a doorway bursts out laughing at him. Her name is Deborah Reed. 7 years later, she marries him. Keep laughing, Deborah. Ben takes a job in a print shop, and here's where it gets clever. He doesn't just work, he performs work. He wheels his own paper through the streets so the whole town sees the industrious young printer. Philadelphia's merchants line up to hire the hard-working kid. Lesson 0. Reputation is capital. By his 20s, he owns his own shop, then a newspaper, but newspapers were crowded. So in 1732, Franklin does something much weirder. He invents a person. Meet Poor Richard Saunders, a broke henpecked stargazer with an almanac to sell. And in his very first edition, Poor Richard predicts, down to the hour, the death of Franklin's biggest rival, almanac maker Titan Leeds. Leeds, very much alive, furiously prints that he is not dead, which, Poor Richard replies, is exactly what a dead man's ghost would say. The colonies lose their minds. The almanac explodes. Poor Richard's almanac sells 10,000 copies a year. In colonies where most families own 2 books total, and squeezed between the weather forecasts, Franklin hides the best money advice in American history. Rule 1. A penny saved is 2 pence clear. Forget earning more. Wealth begins with what you refuse to spend. Track every coin, because a small leak will sink a great ship, and Franklin lived it. While the almanac sold, he was quietly building something America had never seen. He set up his best workers with their own print shops in other colonies, paid the startup costs, and took 1/3 of the profits for 6 years. Then did it again in the next colony. Benjamin Franklin invented the franchise. Money flowed to him from up and down the coast while he slept. Rule 2. Make your money work so you don't have to. One shop feeds you. A system feeds your grandchildren. 1723. A boy with 3 bread rolls. 1748. The richest printer in America. And that year, at age 42, Franklin does the thing nobody saw coming. He quits completely. Walks away from the most profitable print business in the colonies, because to Franklin, money was never the prize. Rule 3. Money has one real job: buying back your time. Franklin retired at 42, and then the fun began. The retired Franklin invents the lightning rod, bifocals, and the Franklin stove, and patents none of them. He gives every invention away for free, saying that since we enjoy advantages from the inventions of others, we should serve others with our own. The man who wrote the book on getting rich kept giving the winnings away. In 1758, he bundles Poor Richard's best advice into one essay, The Way to Wealth. It becomes one of the most reprinted American texts ever. And here is Franklin's darkest joke. In the essay, a crowd hears all this wisdom, nods wisely, then buys everything at the auction anyway. Franklin knew most people ignore advice, so he wrote that into the advice. But his greatest lesson arrived from beyond the grave. In his will, Franklin locked away £1,000 each for Boston and Philadelphia, untouchable for 200 years. Just compound interest, quietly working. By 1990, that money had grown to nearly $7 million. His final rule, whispered across 2 centuries, start now and let time do the heavy lifting. So, $1, 3 bread rolls, 5 rules that still work. The only question, as poor Richard might put it, you've nodded along, but will you be at the auction tomorrow?